You applied for a faculty position, you created your CV, your research statement, your teaching statement, vision statement, so on and so forth. And you are lucky that you were actually invited for an interview. You probably applied to dozens of places. And when, after interview, you also were invited on place interview and a chalk talk and series of interviews that you went through with other faculty. And then you did not hear a thing, not a peep. So, what really happened and where did you go wrong? Uh, so, today we are going to talk about how to think about applying for faculty positions. I've gone through this path and I can tell you I came with a pretty good package, but even then I found that it is an extremely difficult and challenging thing. And so very few people are prepared for it. So many postdocs are planning to apply for a faculty position, but they really don't know what is needed to be in their package, in their whole portfolio, to be competitive and to be considered for the position. Many a times the trouble with that is that you end up optimizing for the wrong things. You over optimize for certain things. For example, I know many people who over optimize to get the big paper, okay, or to get a grant or something of that nature, and they spend years in that pursuit. Eventually, they are successful. What they have lost out is the opportunity of time, which makes it very difficult for them to be considered. And in fact, it decrease their competitiveness and their capability to secure a faculty position in spite of actually getting what they want because they over optimize in one dimension while under optimizing in the other. So how to think about applying for a faculty position? This is first of all, I've been on many search committees. I have seen search committees. I've applied for positions. So I have a little bit of experience in this. And I'm sure there are other people who probably have done it over the ages. One thing that I think one can very truly say is getting a faculty position is something like getting an executive position in certain institution or a higher level position in certain institution. It is no more about the skill. It is no more about getting the smartest person. It is no more about getting the person with the best CV or the one with the best recommendation. In some sense, it is like dating. If you want to find your partner or whom you want to get married to, so many things go into it that actually you are not optimizing only on one dimension. You're optimizing in so many different directions that the solution could be very difficult to fathom and very difficult to predict. And therefore it is not easy to just assume that I will have the best CV. I mean, I'm sure there are people like that and I know people like that, but they're extremely few and far in between. So if you are a better than average person, already if you're applying for a faculty position today in the United States and are successful, you're likely much better than average person. But if you are at that level also, you're still competing with many people of your caliber. And how to stand out is quite difficult, but also how to fit in is quite difficult, right? And so today we are going to talk about what are the considerations that you should seriously consider beyond the cookie cutter approach. Okay, everybody will tell you make a great CV and apply for grant and apply for get a great paper and prepare for your talk in this way and all that. Yes, you can get all sorts of that information on the internet, but I'm going to tell you the inner workings of how these things really work. Okay, one of the thing is one of the major lessons that I have learned and I think is worth saying is that it is not a very clear, well defined path. The whole selection process is basically made of people with different interests, different engagement. Um, they have understanding of certain fields and have zero appreciation of other fields. And so search committees are people from different areas. They might be overall call from a department. We want a certain person, for example, in robotics in medicine, but that's a very broad field. And all that anybody really can qualify there if you are even slightly related to robotics, if you are bringing some big tickets to the table. Okay. So what are the definitely mandatory things that you should get. Of course, you should have good papers. You should have, probably a grant that you are able to get. But do not over prepare in a way that you keep preparing for it without realizing that you are making yourself much older and much more stale in other directions. Okay, so do that, but remember that you are not there to impress everybody. Okay, you are there to present your best self, your whole package, and how the department is going to look at, not if you are the smartest person, but that are you going to make the rest of them move further, in their own research direction. So they are really looking for not competitiveness, but complementarity. So the more people you can have complementarities with, right? Suppose you're bringing a computational approach while others are working on certain experimental approaches in the same problem, and they can see that, see, this is what we are lacking, and if we collaborate with this person, I'll be able to enhance my own research collaboration or bring something new to the table. That is what you want to bring to the table. Okay, so emphasize on those, particularly in your chalk talk. See what the other people in the department are doing and try to cater to their needs, uh, their pain points, the research that they are doing, and how you could potentially contribute to their research. Okay, even though you may collaborate or not collaborate that much, but at least you bring potential collaborations to the table. Okay, so that's number one. Emphasize that as much as you can in your talk, because at the end of the day, how much ever impressive your data is, you are not really going to an expert audience or a very niche audience, right? You're not going to a conference where most people are in your area. Actually, what you're getting is a very diverse set of people who are coming from very different area. For example, if you go in a department of cell biology, people may be working on mitochondria or this, or different kind of cell types or different kind of programs. Similarly, if you go in a department of law, there would be people working on family law and patent law and criminal law. They are looking for somebody in a new area which is probably developing, but also applying new approaches, right? So emphasize your approaches, emphasize your the complementarity. And another thing you should think about is that most of the people in research universities don't realize that a lot of jobs that are available are in teaching schools, right? And they are very happy to take a job there. Many a times now jobs are only becoming available there, but they do not have sufficient work experience to actually go teach. Don't be a stag, in front of a light coming when you are applying for a job. Prepare for it. While you are doing research, take opportunities to teach courses, design courses. There are community colleges around you. Go to community colleges and just teach a course. If you want to be a lecturer, that is okay. If you want to be a researcher, that is a totally different matter. But if you want to go to a teaching heavy university, take the requisite credits so that you can attain, the necessary uh, work experience that you can show. You see, I have all these lectures. Record some lectures on videos and send those lectures and videos. Okay, so many more universities are teaching universities than research universities. And if you want to get those jobs, you need to prepare for those jobs specifically, because even though you may have a grant, they may not be that much interested in the grant, but that how much teaching load you can take, right? How can you design courses, how are you going to really proctor courses? So these are the kind of questions they will be asking, and you need to be prepared for it, which very few postdocs are prepared for. So please take the time to do these kind of work. I've had people in my own group who have done this successfully, and the only way to do that is to take extra experience outside the lab. Okay, ask your PI. If the PI is teaching a course, that can I take some portion of the coursework and do this part, and then get the letter that I actually taught these courses. Okay. Final point. Okay, search committees are not selecting the best candidate. You cannot really know the search committees directly, but if you can know who are part of the search committee, please do the homework on their research interest. Try to see whether you can make yourself marketable to their research area. Okay, they would be coming from all walks of life in terms of all different kinds of disciplines, and if you can be interesting enough for them, and you think you know that you would be qualifying, that they would consider you as potential collaborators, they would really consider investing in you, as compared to a person who happens to be brilliant, may have a great paper, but seems to be working in an area that nobody really can understand how to really work with. I mean, this can happen. For example, I have started working in this area, which is related to uh, mammals, like far off, different kind of animals. And now that's not an area that's interesting to lots of people. So if I'm going to talk about that, I'm going to talk about that work when I'm giving a research seminar, right? Because we have some impressive data, some really amazing findings, but that's not going to be something that other people, and I've noticed it, that if you present that kind of a talk in a department with multiple sets of people, they are impressed, but they really don't know what to do with it, right? They have no way to to collaborate with you, except to go back and say, oh, that was an impressive talk. You don't want to leave it that. You want to connect with their work. Okay, so spend some time, 10-15 minutes in your talk in which you can actually connect with their work. Don't highlight, oh, see, I can work with you and I can work with you. Present in your area, emphasize those areas. See, this could be relevant to cancer, or this could be relevant to this, or this could be relevant to this area. Okay, whichever area your other department people are working in, you can do a little bit of homework too. Beyond that, okay, look for people who have active grants. That's very easy to get. All these information are available online nowadays and in databases, and those are the active researchers in those areas. You can get abstract of what they're working on, and you can use AI to get a sense of, oh, these are the top areas, and I can now plug in a little bit of how I could collaborate with in this area using these data, this particular technique, this particular analysis. Okay, so put as much of that as possible, and the more general interest you will raise in your candidature, the more chances you will have to be considered for actual recruitment. Okay, people, when they are hiring a faculty, are really making a very long-term decision. Okay, it is unlike any other job. You are going in a very, very small selected space where people are going to be permanently there for at least 10 years. Okay, people want to hire someone whom they can work with, they can talk to, they can chit chat with. Okay, so don't bring aspects of your personality that are too much out of the ordinary. Okay, you have to stand out, but not stand out away. Okay, in the yard, you have to stand out in a way that you shine, but at the same time you can work with other people in a way they can talk with you, they find you interesting. And final thing, okay, you'll be taken for dinner or dinners, during your talk. They are extended interviews. I have seen two examples of complete botched up dinners because people thought this is the time to relax, and they actually relaxed. Okay, they actually relaxed in a way they should not have done. Okay, and that completely destroyed their chances. Do not do that. Dinners are extended interviews. You are there to be judged as a person, as a colleague whom they can talk to, they can understand. Okay, is there a way for you to be with this person in a collegial way? Be at your best behavior. Be You should have good behavior all the time, right? But be at your best behavior, uh, and if some people have social anxiety, and if you have that, get some ways to deal with it. Okay, if you find that you'll struggle a lot with how to get particular food or things like that, study where they are taking you and look at the menu items and see what you're going to actually decide on. Okay, those kind of homeworks you should try to do beforehand rather than making a little bit of a weird scene. Too much is at stake. Okay, so you have to work in advance to plan that things don't go wrong. So plan all of this, and all of these are, as I say, these are not the standard advice anybody will give you. Okay, for interviews, and probably this is not only for faculty dinner; it's for all kind of executive dinners. Okay, executive interviews sufficiently higher up in the ranks that you are going to be, taken out for dinner and talked and, met with and brought to lots of people. So at that level, you have to be able to fit in sufficiently that you stand out, that you're not just a random average person, but you also don't stand out in such a way that people cannot connect with you. It's a fine line, but you need to draw it properly. Okay. So, and if you struggle to do it, as many people do, uh, little bit of homework is always helpful. Okay. So we'll end it here. Please subscribe to this channel. Please spread it to people, to your friends who are PhDs, postdoc, faculty in academia. There are very, very few contents that are of this nature. So please try to spread it to your friends, and that way more and more people could be reached out to you, and we can have conversations about topics that really matter in academia. Until then, take care.